Hey everybody, so welcome to this week's episode of Roto's Questions. So today I'm going to be talking about a topic that is pretty important for people to realize what's going on. And so my video today is titled that they are more scared of us than we are of them. And when I say they, it's pretty much just anybody in power, the powers that be, the Illuminati, the Freemasons, and the royalty, and everybody, government and whatever. It's a very wide ranging they. Okay, so it's very important just to realize this, that they're more scared than we are, because fear is the main tool, weapon that they use to control the public, control us, you and me. Okay, so I'll admit that yes, most people are afraid, including myself. People are afraid of what other people are going to say if they stand up and talk about 9/11, or talk about chemtrails, or talk about vaccines or whatever. People get called crazy, or people look at them funny because they're conspiracy theorists or all of that. So people are scared. That's usually one of the biggest fears, is fear of criticism, fear of what other people are going to say about you, because you got to fit into society and be normal and everything. Or people are always worrying about if they're going to step up against the government, are they going to get thrown in jail or something worse, or killed? Because this happens all the time. There's political prisoners in Canada right now, and we all know that lots of people have been killed over politics or about saying something. I mean, just look at John Lennon and Tupac, just for example, Martin Luther King, Malcolm X. There's just four people off the top of my head. So this stuff happens every day. But with all that being said, and how scared that we are to do something or say something, these people are like, their fear doesn't even compare to ours. Their fear is like a million times bigger than what we could even imagine of being scared of, because they're scared to lose power. They're scared that the public is going to wake up and catch on to what they're doing. Because if the public did wake up, there would be a revolution overnight, and that's it. It's over for them. Everything they've worked hard for thousands of years, hundreds of years, whatever, it would just be over. And they're scared shitless of that. And just there's I have some proof. At least I think it's proof. Anyone that's paying attention would probably think so as well. So just look at the trillions, like literally trillions of dollars they spend on terrorism and phony wars just to keep us scared, to keep us fighting somebody else, to keep us fighting Muslims or whoever, right? To keep us fighting each other so that we don't focus on what they're doing. Look at the billions they spend on controlling the media, controlling what we see, what we think, what we hear, what we know. That's a big component. There's only like what, 5 or 6 corporations that control all the media in the world, all the mainstream media. That's pretty huge. So they control what we see, what we act. They tell us what's in and what's not, what's going on and what's not, who started this war, who didn't. So that's pretty huge. They're controlling everything we see. So look at the billions they spend poisoning our water with, say, fluoride. Look at all the food and medicine that they're poisoning as well with GMOs. I mean, there's farmers that have like full body like hazmat suits on while they're spraying their crops. It's not safe for them to touch these chemicals, but we're supposed to eat them. That's crazy. And just look at all the like diseases and stuff that have come from vaccines, from contaminated vaccines. I mean, they're literally killing us, keeping us sick so that we're too busy fighting these illnesses to fight them or to realize what's actually going on. Look at the billions, trillions they spend on fake attacks and keeping us divided, just like how I mentioned earlier. Like, just look at 9/11. How much do you think 9/11 cost just to pull that off and to make everyone think that, yeah, it was a bunch of Muslims that hijacked a plane with box cutters and flew in ways that like even a lot of expert pilots couldn't fly, and that the twin towers just all of a sudden they collapsed into themselves. Like, oh, it's just I don't want to get started on 9/11 because it's such a crazy story for anyone that actually believes the official story. Like, come on, just look at the evidence. So they have no problem spending billions or trillions of dollars pulling off all of this stuff because money means nothing to them. They own the banks. They own the central banks. If they need money, they'll just print more. It's all about power for these people. So look at how much money they spend on the police and defense. Like, come on, the military, the Department of Defense, that's the biggest bunch of bullshit ever. Because, come on, it should be Department of Offense. There's nobody attacking Canada. There's nobody attacking the states except for the states. Like, just, it's all crazy. Just, yeah. And just, like, look at how much they spend on police. Like, yeah, I know we need police to, like, stop murderers and, crime, but we don't need police, like, look at what happened in the G20 in Toronto. People getting beat up, people getting arrested by cops. People getting pepper sprayed just for going out and expressing their right to protest. I mean, we have that right to peacefully protest, and there's cops that are dressing up as protesters to start the violence so that then they can clamp down on the people. I mean, it's crazy. We don't need cops going against our people and then getting paid for this overtime too. I mean, it's just crazy. And so look at all the events, like how much money was spent on security at the G20 or the G8, or when Harper goes to Tim Hortons. I mean, this guy can't even go to Tim Hortons without his own private security detail. I mean, how much money does that cost? Why is he so scared? I mean, if the people really loved our leaders, why do they need so much security? Like, what are they doing that they're so scared of? I mean, I go to Tim Hortons, well, not Tim Hortons, but I go to the soccer center or wherever without any security. I've never gone anywhere with security, and I'm fine because I'm not out there, fucking over millions of people. And pardon my language, but these people just get me like at that level where, yeah, so like, why is it that Gaddafi can like ride around his country like waving at the people and in a convertible, and Harper can't? It's crazy. So it's just like Henry Ford's quote from a while when he was alive, that I'm just paraphrasing here. If you want to know the exact quote, you can look it up, but he said, "It is good that people of this nation do not know how the money system works, because if they did, there would be a revolution overnight." And that's just talking about the banking system. That's how scared they are. If people knew how that worked, there'd be a revolution overnight. Now just imagine, that's just banking. What about the military and medicine and everything else? I mean, it would be over for these people. As soon as people just wake up and start looking and start asking questions instead of just accepting what's on the news or what they're taught in school. All right. And so a lot of it too is, why are they killing people that invent technology that could advance our earth, that could get us off of oil? I mean, there's been people killed for trying to introduce free energy technology. There's been people killed for curing diseases, like cancer. There's been doctors thrown in jail for curing people of cancer. Why are they doing that? Because they're scared. Right, so yeah, that's what they're most afraid of. They're not afraid of, you going and shooting the president, because they'll just replace them. They're scared of a fully awake, conscious public that is capable of critical thinking and asking questions, that doesn't just accept blindly their rule. So when people start waking up and thinking for themselves, that's when things start to change. That's when we can make a better world. So for every person that turns off the radio or turns off the TV, they get more scared. They lose more power. For every person that asks questions and doesn't just accept everything, they lose more power. So that's what we need to do to make a change. Just spread information to your friends and family, or to just random people that you meet. Instead of talking about the Super Bowl, talk about 9/11, talk about taxes, or just, there's so many more important things going on. And I'm not to say that should take over your life, because I'm looking forward to watching the World Cup here coming up in a couple months, but You know, all those other distractions shouldn't take up our life either. We gotta have balance. So yeah, so you know they're so scared because we outnumber them 10 million to 1. I mean, they wouldn't even stand a chance if we actually stood up for our rights and for ourselves. So yeah, that's about all. So just remember, share the information with your friends and family. Wake up, start asking questions, and you'll see that information will change the world. Thanks for watching.